In this video, we're going to attempt the impossible and try to break down how True Smith poparoos like a kangaroo, because this kid has some wicked pop and absolutely fantastic style. If you don't know of True Smith, check him out. He's one of my favorite boarders, local here at Whistler, and he just has so much explosiveness and creativity. So let's go and figure out how he does it so we can go and capture that and bring it into our own riding. Starting here with this really awesome, stylish little ollie. So this ollie is pretty interesting because it's off a very steep point, so it's not much of a surface to go and generate pop off of. So in order to go and get max power, he's doing something interesting. He's first preemptively setting all of his weight onto his front foot. See how he's completely leaned over there? And normally for an ollie, you think you want to shift everything back. But here, he's just going and kicking his hips back, but while keeping his upper body in the same neutral position. This is because this little transition here is so short, you don't actually have enough time to do a full range of motion. So he's going and keeping his upper body in the position it needs to be for the landing, and that needs to be for the start of a takeoff, and then relying on the hips and putting pressure off that tail. And I really want to note, power on your ollies comes from maximizing your surface area, maximizing that time your board's making contact with the lip. So just by going and pushing his board into this lip, it's already naturally putting himself a whole board length in the air, and that's before getting that little bit of pop. And now watch how his tail pops through the lip of the takeoff and then springs up. So you're not trying to spring up before the takeoff or off the takeoff, you're trying to push through that takeoff and rely on the snap to pull you up. And as he's doing this, he's keeping his upper body over. And because he wants to do this a little bit of a shifty, what does he do? He does a preemptive motion of opening his chest towards the jump. And that's why he's completely 90 here. So that way he comes up, does his little shifty, and because his upper body was set in that neutral position, already set for the landing, he naturally comes into that landing just perfectly. When you see people landing tail heavy like this, especially pro level riders like True Smith, it's not because their weight set over their tail, it's because their weight set centered and they're just tilting their hips towards that tail. And that's why he's able to go and hit that tail and then snap it down. So whenever you see a Red Gerard hitting with that tail first, it's not because they're going and landing tail heavy, they're just going and shifting their hips so that tail goes and lands first. What's way better, if you land tail heavy consistently, you're going to snap your boards. This hit here is really interesting because look at how bad this takeoff is. It's sort of indented, groomed, and he's trying to travel very straight. If he travels too far to the left, he won't have enough speed to go and do the line he's trying to do and hit that shark fin feature. So in order to counter this, he needs to take a very straight line. But he's trying to take off from this point, not the very end of the knuckle. So in order to do this, he can't go and hold his usual toe edge pressure position. If we go and zoom in here really quick. So normally when you're going and jumping and everything, you want to keep yourself in a stacked position over your toe edge so you can get that slight balls of your feet pressure as you pop off. But in this case, he can't do that because if he went in on a toe edge, he would have drifted too much. So in order to counter this, he's going to his heel edge. But if you go and pop off your heel edge, your legs are going to kick out, you're going to get unbalanced, and you're going to land heel heavy. So what does he do? And this is genius. He goes and counters it by putting his upper body all the way over. This is making it so his center of balance is still over top of the balls of his feet, even though he's going and taking off of his heel edge. And because of this, he's able to go and pop this jump and look at his center of balance. As soon as his legs come up, instead of the legs going and kicking out, his center of balance is, boom, perfectly over the balls of your feet. And that's really the secret to generating power, generating control, is making sure that you're taking off with your weight set of your balls of your feet, you're in the air in that position, and that will make it so you land in that position. So even though he gets a little bit swirly here, I'd say he's just getting swirly here because look at how much he's trying to open his upper body towards the chest, because the reason why he's opening his upper body towards the takeoff like this is because he needs to go and rotate his board slightly. He's trying to land straight downhill, but he's on a bit of an angle. So preemptive motion again, setting his upper body forward, and that's going to make it so his board naturally rotates. But we can see here, his board's actually rotated too much. It's now angled this way because he opened his upper body a little bit too much, and that's where this rebalance is coming from. See how he's rebalancing and shifting it back downhill. And look at this center of balance the whole time he's doing it. This is so sick. Set over balls of feet, extended, and see how he's going and meeting the landing of his legs. And as he's meeting the landing, he's maintaining that nice little stack position. And then watch how he absorbs this. Absorbs it, boom, center of mass completely the same point the whole way. That's how you can see people go and land these massive features, is because as they squat down, their center of balance is the same, And this is really challenging because as your upper body goes down, your hips need to go back in correlation in order to maintain that same center of balance. So that's just done absolutely perfect. Had a little bit of funk and saved it and made it clean. Now we have the Hardway frontside 360. Hardway spins are really good. Well, Hardway frontside spins are really good for generating extra pop. This is because it's easier to generate pop over at toe edge, and there's a few other reasons for it that we won't get into here. That's for a video itself. We're just talking about how he goes and gets his pop. So the first thing I want to note is look at how patient he is closed off. He's almost all the way up the lip, yet he hasn't started his throw yet. This is so important because the more you delay this motion, the more power you'll be able to drive through, the faster. If you start throwing sooner, you're going to need to throw slower. So he's coming in, popping off at toes, and look at how he's going and popping himself up in the air. He's not throwing his arms up and over, but instead he's lifting his chest up. And what do we see in this position? It's basically exactly the same as he did in the jump before. Chest open, weight set over the balls of the feet, and fully extended, but not so much that he's going and losing that balance and losing that engagement in his core. Combine that with just perfect timing and toe pressure. This is a really cool note for anyone spinning frontside. You don't need to take off on your toes, but you should always be aiming to take off in this kind of position on a frontside spin. Not this exaggerated. He's trying to get max pop here. This open of a chest position is honestly not something you see that much, and that's mostly because he's only able to do this because he's putting so much of his energy into going up. His upper body isn't actually being used to rotate here. But by going in and trying to set your spins more over the balls of your feet, it'll make it so you're less heel heavy, and you can put more power into your snowboard from a flatter base position than you can on a heel edge. If you're too heavy on an edge and try to put power in, you're just going to dig in your edge and get thrown off axis. So by keeping your weight more center over your board, you'll be able to drive more power on your tail. And because he's going and snapping so slow with so little rotation with that upper body, he's able to go and use all that momentum, all that rotational force to go upwards instead of generating the spin, and that's why he's getting so much pop. Then look at this back arm pulling the spin. So as he hits that indie poke, he pulls the spin, and that grab with that pull and that takeoff with that amount of air is why he doesn't need to go and set the rotation. Instead, he's just setting a pop with his upper body and head in the right spot. 360 becomes easy after that. This one's really cool. So he's coming into the rail, alling, but he's alling off the toe edge. So hitting it heel side even though he's going toe edge. So the reason why he can do this is because of his angle of approach. See how he's slightly angled towards the feature? Sure, you could go on a heel edge, but when you're trying to gap this much and you're going off a heel edge, like we were talking about, you put more power into that, try to pop more, it's going to make you want to drift. So what does he do to counter this? He sets his whole board on the angle towards the feature, then goes toe edge, and that goes and straightens out his angle onto the feature. And this is really cool. See how he's blunting the feature so much? This is because he's still having a lot of sideways momentum. He's coming into the rail very sideways. And the more sideways you hit the feature, the more you're going to need to angle your board in order to kill that momentum. And that's why you're seeing so much pressure and seeing him load up. So really good rail, really good principles. Oh yeah, we got one more awesome rail here. So look at for this. This is a prime example of what you want to be doing on every rail. See how his legs are holding a stationary position? His upper body is stationary. He's hardly moving. Upper body, lower body, nothing's moving. But how is he getting that height to get onto the rail? The combination is two things, tail pressure and speed. Because he's taking speed into the rail, just by maintaining pressure with his tail and the feature, he's already way over top of the rail, making it so he doesn't need to pop and he doesn't need to reposition. This is making it so he can preemptively enter his board side position. So right here, he's basically already in the exact same position. Then what does he do? Because he's over the rail and he has a bit of sideways momentum, he bashes in that blunt slide, killing that sideways momentum, and that's why he's able to lock in so good. And then when he's getting this pop out here, what does he do? He goes and makes sure that this part of his board's lifting up so it doesn't clip the rail, and this part of the board's pushing down, making maximum contact. And that's why he's getting this such good pop. Because he blunted, he loaded a lot of pressure onto his edge, and as he goes and snaps off the end, that's giving him good air time. Just by not letting your legs go and sog, get absorbed, you're going to get so much power. And now this is the last one, and honestly the one I'm least qualified to talk about, so we'll keep it a little shorter. But here, he's preemptively setting his weight onto that front foot. So see how his body's preemptively moved? Now all he needs to do is pop up into his position, and now his weight is already set there. And this is just a matter of commitment. Committing to that nose of a snowboard and trusting that will pop you up. This and everything is really wild. The only reason it's possible is because of his head positioning. So see how his head's pointed forward? This is making it so he started doing like a side flip looking straight, because if you're trying to get a pop and a hand drag like this, it's really important that you're keeping your spot forward. So the reason why this is working is because he's preemptively setting his upper body to that nose, then he's going and using his same pop motion, and he's trusting that snap off the nose of a snowboard. If you miss the snap here, you're just going to land on your head. That's why I have never done this. And then because his head's position is so neutral, I doubt you can even really tell you're going upside down when you have like that good of a head position. Like you can tell, but it's freaking locked in. And then from there, he's in control, continues the rotation of the upper body, and look at this head. Goes and finishes it with that perfect blind landing, landing in that stacked position. Boom, boom, all the way at the bottom. Smith, truly one of the sickest riders. If you haven't seen him, go check him out. All of his Instagram and YouTube linked. Really one of my favorite dudes, and it's reasons like this. Just great style, super clean, really creative rider. And I think we should all inspire to be able to pop like the absolute... One sec, let me brain power, outro. We should all inspire to be able to bring out the truth of the pop and start really excelling and getting big airs. That sucked, but we're ending this video anyway. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.